I'm in the east of London. Today's home delivery is famous for his songs of love, domesticity and activism. He's a painter of musical pictures, a storyteller and a firebrand. He is the bard of barking. It's Billy Bragg.
Look out, kid, I'm coming up the curb.
That's what I like.
Handbrake's on. Yes. Gotta go get that old seatbelt
Billy,
off.
it's so hard to get in. It's so hard to get in.
Yeah, that's me, I think. How are you? Walking, barking.
Yeah.
What a lovely day for it.
I know.
Beautiful.
It's just how I expected it would be.
Do you want to come for a drive in this fabulous motor?
Let's go. Isn't it beautiful?
Isn't it?
Oh, and it's warm.
It's lovely and warm, yeah. Fuck.
1 minute.
Let's have a go.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, go on, watch round the block. Isn't it lovely, isn't it?
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. Mark 1 as well.
What?
Mark 1.
I don't even know what that means.
Got them lights up.
Yes!
It's 21 years when I wrote this song. I'm 22 now, but I won't be for long.
Billy Bragg's career has stretched over 30 years and over 20 albums. His songs are populated with everyday characters and infused with politics.
Pop music has always kidded itself that it's a radical force for change. That's rubbish. It's entertainment, but it gives you the opportunity to get specific ideas across to people.
This is old Barking Cemetery here. All my rellies are in here.
Are they?
Yeah, my nan's in there. Well, both my nans are in there. And my granddad Bragg, he's in there. My old auntie Anna. I should be indicating around here.
Please indicate.
I am indicating. This is the A13 we're just about to get on.
Oh, the A13. Great song.
Yeah, thank you very much.
About the A13
Yeah.
from you, young man. What sort of car is this?
This is a Ford Cortina Mark 1, which was built at Dagenham in the mid-60s. And it had the nickname of the Dagenham Dustbin. I always thought it was because Fords just threw everything into it.
Yeah.
All the bits from other cars.
Yeah.
But also, it's partly because it used to rust really badly. You know, this is Ford's. This is the actual old factory itself.
We're now leaving the A13.
We are. We're going to swing
That's
around
exciting.
and go back to a bit of rock and roll barking.
Has it changed a lot since
Yeah, it
you're
has.
here?
I mean, it has. What has really changed big time is the car culture. You know, in the 70s, when they were still building cars, everybody's dad worked for Fords. 40,000 people working for Fords. That's
But I
what
mean,
you
that
would
would
be.
have been a good job, wouldn't it? No?
Well, the main body plant, which was like Hades. It was hot, it was smelly, it was noisy, and I was like, you know, what am I going to have to do to avoid working here? When I said to the careers officer that I didn't want to work for Fords, he literally said to me, well, you've got three choices then, son. You've got the Army, the Navy or the Air Force.
And is this your street?
This is our little street, yeah.
Oh.
Just going to slightly go up the curb.
Oh, that's all right. You're allowed.
Oh, yeah. My niece and nephew look like they're out.
And
Oh, I love that noise, isn't that?
I know.
Listen to that. Let's do that again.
Oh, that's good.
How lovely is that, eh?
It's a nice sound.
It's a great sound, isn't it? Good to see you. Lovely to see you. 1935, the Braggs moved in here. And they moved all the way from next door. They were renting next door. In fact, my dad was born next door. Here's the old door key. Now, in the old days, we'd ring the doorbell and an eye would appear here. Who's coming in?
Now, you've been back here many times.
I have, yeah.
Yes, so
yeah.
this isn't a big surprise, but it's a big surprise for me.
I was here about 6 weeks ago. So, this is the living room. When I was small, this was where my grandmother lived. We sort of shared the house. We lived upstairs. My granny Bragg lived in here. We had an outside toilet, no phone, no telly, didn't have a car. We had a motorbike and sidecar.
Oh.
Little story here. If you look out in the street, The next 5 houses here are a different design from these houses. They're a sort of post-war design. And that's because during the war, number 154 had a direct hit and was totally demolished, and they had to demolish the whole bit between the 2 alleys and rebuild them. And in the 1970s, we had damp up this wall. Transpired that when they rebuilt those houses, they relaid the alley, and the alley's higher than the damp course on the house. And that was the problem. And my mum's terse comment was, "That bloody Hitler, he got us in the end." That's what she said. I can't understand it. Up these stairs, yeah. Dad built these banisters, yeah.
Good for the kids, they can't fall out.
Yeah, exactly. And this room here this is a box room. Now, this was my bedroom for quite a lot of my childhood.
This was your room? It's tiny.
No, there was a bed here. There was a single bed here.
That's what I'm saying. There'd be no more room.
And there was a sort of like a wardrobe, low wardrobe here, and bookshelves here. I had loads of books on the shelves here. Yeah, but this is my garret. I was in here as sort of like me against the world, and I wrote my songs and I wrote my diary every night. I was going to take on the world, and I've covered the walls with posters.
What did you have on your walls?
Simon and Garfunkel here. I had Bob Dylan here.
Yes.
I had the Easy Rider bikes here. But on the back of the door, I had Bridget Bardot rising topless out of some lagoon.
Did your mum know?
No, so my nan didn't see it.
Oh, so your nan
She's all
didn't
can see it, but put it on the back of the door so nan can't see
Brigitte Bardot, after all. She
Exactly.
was lovely, yeah?
She was
lovely.
This is plastic from the war. It just blows my mind. It's all still here.
Plastic from
And
the
lovely.
war.
I mean, this is a bit different now because my niece and nephew got this in here as well.
How did you all fit in here? Because there's your mum,
Well,
your dad, there's your brother David.
Yeah.
You've got Gran downstairs.
Yeah, well, Gran kind of passed away around the time my brother arrived. So when we sat down around the table, it was mostly in the back room here. This was our sort of like room for having a proper meal.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
There's a bit of space here.
This is a lovely space. This old gas fire, you can't really see it now, but this gas fire used to be the only real heating in the house. When I had my first flush of fame, in the back of my mind, I thought, you know, this could all, years' time, it could be all gone.
Yes.
So, first thing I did was I got central heating for this house, because I thought if it all goes tits up, I'm going to be back in that bloody damp box room upstairs, and I'll have had nothing.
Just you? You think of your own bloody room?
Both, because, I mean, I'd left home to become a rock star 3 times already, and 3 times I'd ended back there in that room, so...
Was it a noisy household?
It was noisy when we started playing with my band, yeah. In 1976, Wiggy next door taught me how to play the guitar. I could hear him playing through the wall here in the back room, so I went to see him and he taught me some chords.
Did you talk politics around the table?
No, we never talked politics at all. Not in the slightest bit. In fact, my mum always used to be annoyed that my dad wouldn't tell her how he voted, because Mum didn't want to cancel out his vote, so I kind of got my politics through music, really.
Your parents, Dennis and Mari, how did they meet?
They met at a roller skating rink. In the late 1940s, my dad had just come back from India. He was during the war, he was a tank driver.
And what characteristics do you think your parents had that you've taken on? What do you take from each, do you think?
I think my mum had a fierce independence that I think was really helpful for me in the music industry, particularly during punk, you know, in the sense of making your own luck and making things happen and not waiting around for someone to come and tell you how to do it. My dad had a real interest in things. He had a curiosity about things. He was quite a sort of learned fellow. He, you know, before the internet, it was very handy if there was someone in the family who knew stuff. It's always picking up bits of information and sort of extrapolating a whole story about this area, you know. Of course, we used to go down to the Woolwich Ferry, and there's a high ridge, Shooter's Hill at the back, and he used to say, you know, that's where Caesar came with his legions, at the top of that hill. And that sort of imagination, it really took me, because I've always had you know, an imagination that runs away with itself. And my dad just fed that voraciously. He was a fan of Kipling. He used to stand at the sink there doing the washing up, talking about India, because he'd been in India during the war, and then he'd flip into a bit of Kipling. And I just nicked a load of lyrics. I mean, you know, in my songs, there's a song I've got called The Few, which has the chorus, what do they know of England, do only England know, which is nicked out of Kipling. But also, the thing that was really great about my dad was he could make anything out of wood.
Well, in Handyman Blues, you say, I'm just not the handyman my father was.
So useless. I mean, if he was around now and he came to my house, he would want to say, how does this work then? How does that? I'd be like, I don't know, Dad.
When you were a kid, did you have somewhere that you liked to escape to?
The park is so handy. You could just disappear over there, wander around. There's in the ornamental gardens. There's huge areas of bushes and trees which we used to refer to as the third jungle, and you could disappear into them and make a little den. And I had some of my earliest sexual encounters in there as well. They're just great memories, you know, of disappearing over there.
Was it a strict upbringing? Did your parents let you go wherever you wanted?
I wouldn't say it was strict. I had a paper round. A couple of streets along there, and I'd be up there 7 o'clock in the morning, and I always used to have a feeling that someone was watching me when I was going around. And I only found out years later that my dad used to come and stand at the end of the road and just keep his eye on me before he went to work. Mum would throw him out of bed to come and just make sure that I was all right. Yeah, just check I was all right, because I was only about 11 or 12, you know.
Yeah. Will you take me to your primary school?
My primary school, my dad went to that primary school. It's not just my primary school. Wiggy went to that primary school. Wiggy's dad went to that everybody down this street went to that primary school.
Billy, I don't think I can do my own seatbelt.
Stop it. Stop it.
I don't think you can do yours up either.
Oh, no, shit. Here we go, that's it. That's it, look. Okay. Wait.
He's looking at his own.
Okay.
Oh,
all
that
right.
way.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to put my arm around it. It's all right, old Saturday night seatbelt, isn't it?
Oh, can we just...
Stop. Come around, will you? Get your fingers out.
I think you're going in the wrong way. Just look at your... Can I just look at yours?
Okay.
Perfect.
Sorted, all right?
Oh, woo!
This is the last time I let you ride in the front. Hi-ho, Silver, and away!
Yay.
So this is your primary school playground?
And junior, primary school and junior. I mean, the primary school playground was that one. This is the junior school playground. And I had some very happy memories here. I was the school goalkeeper, so the goalkeeper is always the most dramatic role, because you've got to throw yourself and, you know, pick the ball out of the net. Yeah. When we used to line up in the playground before we got up, Mr. Rowe, who was our teacher, you just used to see the top of his bald head looking down there. And if you'd done something naughty, he'd be eating his lunch and he'd tap on the window like a sort of angry crow on the window, and you'd have to go up there and he'd give the old ruler.
Were you happy here?
Yeah, I was very happy here, yeah. I was a cool goalkeeper. Why wouldn't I be happy? Except, of course, at this site of misery here, the bully post.
The bully
The
post?
bully post, yeah.
No.
Most of the schools, they've taken away these now. But...
You are joking.
No, I'm not, no. If there was a kid who was going to be bullied, instead of the usual sort of thing where they'd be quietly punched behind the bike sheds, at Northbury, we used to tie them to this post.
What, kids used to tie each other?
No, we would tie the littlest kid who was going to be bullied, and we'd tie him to the post, and then we'd go and get some switches from the bushes over there, and sort of like, particularly if you had shorts on, and sort of like, you know, I'm surprised it's still here, actually.
Really?
Yeah, because it was built in the Neolithic. No, they used this for banging out blackboard rubbish, you know, get all chalk on them, banging out the...
And tying people to it?
No.
I believe that. He leads me down the garden path. After you.
Thank you. So this is the this hall. We had all our school assemblies. This is the class I most have memories of. The desks were not like this.
No.
They were proper desks.
Proper desks?
Yeah, lined up. I was a failure academically, I really was. Didn't pass my 11 plus, I didn't go to grammar school. My O-levels were a total disaster because I fell in love with this girl about a week before, and it's all I could think about, so I failed all those. I was already sort of a hopeless romantic by then, so I've just kind of carried on in that sort of hopelessly romantic way.
Were you an intense teenager?
I was into solitude. I wandered lonely as a cloud quite a bit. You know, I was sort of off on my own, thinking, you know, deep thoughts and, you know...
I'm a rock, I'm an island.
Exactly. That's such a great song. And whenever I hear it now, I'm fortunate in my son really has a thing about Simon and Garfunkel, and sometimes he's got that on in the house somewhere and it just sort of drags me right back. Yeah, it just takes me so back to that little room, you know. It was that little room where I was building my rock against the world, you know. I was going to come out of that room and take on the world. It didn't quite work like that, but it kind of did.
I wonder if there was a moment when you were a kid, the first time you saw an injustice.
Injustice?
You know, an injustice that, whether it's about you or a friend, and going, that's not right.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I saw some injustices at my secondary school. I didn't really do much about them, I'm afraid. I was that kid who managed to avoid being bullied by laughing and joking and getting out of the way and not standing up when other kids were getting victimised. And eventually it bit me in the arse because eventually they turned around on me. So I just stopped going to school really the last probably 2 months of school. Just went over the park. No, because my parents were both working, so I could get back in the house again and just
get away.
Got away from it all, yeah. There were kids who I went to school with who I sometimes think, you know, that was totally out of order, and I was just trying to avoid being the victim of it myself. But it doesn't make me feel any better about it, you know.
You're only 18 and your dad's only 52 and he dies. Yeah. How did you cope with that?
Well, sadly, we coped with it by not talking about it. The hospital, when Dad got ill, said to me and Mum, the best way to deal with this is not to talk about it. I mean, it's unbelievable now, but we just didn't. Dad just sort of like withered away over 18 months and we never said a word, and I really, really regret. Yeah. But I know it was one of my mum's great regrets.
Least said, soonest mended kind of thing.
And all that kind of thing, yeah. And oddly, when my mum, a couple of years ago, when my mum got ill as well, and she, you know, she passed away within a month or so. But the first thing she said to me was, "You've got to tell me what they're saying." All right. We were both wanting to be honest with each other because it was that's really tough. And then, subsequently, I didn't talk to anybody about it. The knock-on effect of that, and I never spoke to anybody about it until I wrote a song called "Tank Park Salute." And I remember writing it and thinking, if I play this song, I'm going to have to talk. Not only am I going to talk to friends, I'm going to have to talk to complete strangers about my dad. Now, people come up to me and say, you know, your song has helped me to talk about my loss. And I'm able to say to them, you know what? It does the same thing for me as well. It's done exactly the same. I've self-medicated, if you like, with that song.
Kiss me goodnight and say my prayers. Leave the lights on at the top of the stairs. Tell me the names of the stars up in the sky. The treetops on a window pane, that feeling smothers me again. Daddy, is it true that we all have to die?
They say you can't be what you can't see. Who were you seeing in your world that you thought...
Well, this was exactly the problem. You know, in 1976, me and Wiggy and Bob the drummer from around the corner, we went to see the Rolling Stones at Wembley and the Who at Charlton Football Club. And we had absolutely no way of knowing how we would get to do that.
Cross the gap or something.
A year later, punk happened. All of a sudden, the door was kicked in. Anyone, you know, anyone could do it. And if you were 19, especially as I was in 1977, so was Paul Weller, so was Johnny Rotten, so was Mick Jones at the Clash, you know. All of a sudden, we lived in a world of possibilities. You know, you could be in a band just by being in a band.
How old were you when you really had that first political awakening?
Well, I think the first political awakening I had was Rock Against Racism, which would be 1977, 78. And me and my mates, you know, Wiggy went, Bob the drummer, we all went. Thousands of people. The park is 100,000 kids just like me. And I realised that day that I'm not the only person who gives shit about this stuff, that I'm not in a minority, not in my generation anyway, that we're going to define ourselves in opposition to any kind of discrimination. It was being in that movement, and it was a sort of national movement, that made me believe that music has a role to play in shaping people's opinions.
Your first band was Riff Raff with Wiggy. We're about to meet Wiggy now.
We are, yeah. He's the Keith Richard type.
Is he?
No, he's just got that sort of dark sort of guitar play. Yeah, he was always the Keith Richards, and I was the Paul Simon, so it was a bit geeky being with the Keith Richards, but it kind of worked.
Billy and Wiggy into the old gym.
Yeah.
Good old Jim.
Back in the old gym. Now, Wiggy.
Yes.
Can you give me some little memories of young Billy, the first time you met him? What was your impression?
Well, the first time I met him, I don't remember meeting him. But there is a picture, do you know the one?
I do.
There's a picture of me in a pram and him hanging over the side of it, like a couple of years older than me.
Wow.
And he was, back then, he was also a couple of years older than me.
And was he a friendly kid? Was he a competitive kid? Was he a loner?
He was a bit loud.
He was a bit loud. How does that not surprise?
Because we're a couple of years apart, obviously, at school, that was something that stopped us socialising away from our houses. But
Right.
once I heard Wiggy was playing guitar, I realised what an amazing guy he was.
You were in his first band in Riff Raff.
Well, it was kind of...
I was in his band, he's going to tell you. That's
Oh, is
probably
that
true.
right?
It was a meeting of minds.
A meeting
It
of
was
minds.
us two.
Wiggy was the important musical
Was he?
component. Yeah, I wasn't particularly musical, nor was the drummer.
Right.
But Wiggy,
Did all the work.
no, he knew the chords. He
Yeah.
knew all the chords.
Pretty much.
I had a record player.
He did.
And he
we
had
didn't.
records.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
have any records.
I had a job in a record shop, which is even better.
It's like a perfect marriage.
It was.
It's-
It kind of
yeah.
was.
Earlier, Billy referred to your kind of team up as kind of a Keith Richards, Paul Simon. Would you agree with that? Looking at you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sort of, wasn't it? That's how it sort of started, wasn't it?
Wiggy, thank you so much.
That's all right, no
For
problem.
coming out here to your old stomping ground. I hope you're not having any weird flashbacks. Come on, Billy, show me more of barking.
Let's do it. Can you sing?
Can I? Billy,
Yes.
I've never busked in my life.
Well, it's the first time you've ever done anything.
Yeah, if I'm going to busk with anyone, it should be with you.
I thought we might go down the A13.
Yes.
Like we did. You start standing whopping, there ain't no stopping. Bypass parking and straight through Dagenham down to Great Sparrow and rather near Basildon, yeah. Hipsey, Bunderslee, Hadley, Leonsea, Chalkwell, Quillwell, Southensty, and if you ever go to Shoeburyness, Chaz and Dave, take the A road, the OK road, that's the best, yeah. Go motoring on the A13.
Where?
Yeah. Go motoring on the A13. One more time. Yeah. Go motoring on the A13.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
I was a virgin, but now no longer.
The police are here.
Oh,
Come on,
great.
scram.
I so enjoyed busking with you.
We really busted that busk.
Now, this is fabulous
Isn't it?
barking park.
Yes. Weekends in summer, it was absolutely rammed over here. People over the swing yard, people playing sport up there. There were little motorboats you could rent on the lake. Everything you would need. And you know, 2 minutes to walk home. Literally, you can probably just about see our back
Well,
garden.
yeah, you are so close. This is your back garden.
It was the great privilege of my childhood to have access to this without having to even, you know, cross the road.
Did you ever fall in the lake?
Everybody fell in the lake. In fact,
some point.
I had a morbid fear of falling in the lake. And my old man said, just don't worry about it. One day you'll just fall in the lake. And when one day I asked him about death, he said it's like falling in the lake. Everyone's got to do it. Just don't worry about it.
Your dad was in the army, and you also spent a bit of time in the army.
Yeah, for my sins, yeah. I'd been in a punk band, and it had all failed, and punk had sort of finished. The Clash had gone to America. The Sex Pistols had broke up. Spandau Ballet were big, and I thought, this is, you know, I didn't want to come back here and be the bloke who used to be in a band. So I was looking for something that would be the sort of eject button, if you like, particularly in cassette terms, on my previous existence. And I remembered what my careers officer had told me when I said I didn't want to work at Ford's. And I was like, you know what? It's as good as anything. And it seemed to be also a way to get rid of this stupid idea that I could ever be a musician. And as soon as I got there, I had all these great ideas for songs. And I suddenly realised, I'm like, this is just... And I was just about to begin training as a tank driver. And I was like, you know what? It turned out to be not my cup of tea.
I'm not surprised. Your lyrics are so evocative. Is that how it starts? It's lyrics and ideas first and then music comes, or is it a mix?
It's a mix, because you have tunes, you know, you're sitting down watching the football and you're playing the guitar, sort of, you know, and you think, oh, that's nice, what is it? And you sort of like, oh, I'll put that... You wake up the next morning and you think, oh, that song was... What was it? And if it's hooked you back in, you think, oh, that's good. Or you might have some really smart-ass lyrics that you think, oh, you know... I had a great lyric that I just couldn't write the music for it. And eventually it took me about 2 or 3 years, and finally, you know, like a Rubik's Cube, all of a sudden it went click, and I was like, that's it. But I don't know why the other songs didn't work, but I could just tell they didn't work.
Are there enough protest songs being written anymore?
I don't think there are. I don't think people are writing protest songs, and I don't think it's because younger people aren't political. My sense of it is that when I was 19, if I wanted to get my views about the world out there, there was only really one platform open to me, and that was to learn to play the guitar, write songs and do gigs, you know. And in that sense, in the 20th century, music itself was our social medium. If you wanted to know what your generation was thinking, you would either listen to records or read the music papers. Now, if you want to know, if you're 19 and want to know what your generation is thinking, you can look on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, or if you're angry about the world, you can write a blog. And that's good, because more people can engage in that way. But the downside to that is nobody's ever going to invite you to Sydney to read out your tweets.
What does your son Jack like to listen to?
He's into vinyl. He buys vinyl. He's in a little mod band. He's sort of like mod pop band.
Are you loving that? Is the dad in you just going, thank you?
But unfortunately, I'm banned from his gigs.
Because for why?
Well, you know, I think it's you know, having your dad at the back of the room. And,
what if you snuck in, though?
Well, when he played at Glastonbury, I got myself a high-vis jacket and pretended I was a fire marshal and stood far enough away. I know he can't see without his glasses, so I managed to see him at Glastonbury. But other than that, I have to rely on reading about it on Facebook. But it's fair enough.
Was that exciting?
Yes, it was. Oh. And I tell you what was more exciting. No, it was more exciting. When I went to get the high-vis jacket, I was still about 500 yards away from where he was playing, and I heard him kick off really loud at his band and him singing, and I said to the bloke, that's my son.
Oh, that's so great. If little 12-year-old Billy were to be running up this hill, not falling in the lake, hopefully, what would you tell him? What would you say to him?
Well, what I say to him, hang in there, mate. You know, it's going to take a while. It doesn't matter that you're going to be, you know, sort of like living in your own little world. In the end, it's going to be great. You're going to make a living doing what you always wanted to do. It just takes time. So hang in there.
Brilliant.
Billy, dream your dream.
Dream your dream.
Dream. Mind the lake. Oh, too late.
Billy, it's been an absolute delight.
And also, it stopped raining. The sun come out.
Like
it's beautiful.
Oh, you brought the sun out.
It's lovely, isn't it? If we could get ourselves a rowing boat.
Wouldn't that be brilliant?
Wouldn't it be lovely?
No, actually, I've actually written some really beautiful romantic love songs that I like just to go and busk back up there. So
sounds good to me.
Grab your guitar.
I'm on it.
And they're pretty bad, but I think I help you, so it's only fair that you should help me.
I think that's cool.
Or we could just go and have a beer.
Double good.
Double good. Excellent.